Hello and welcome to Gefet Ep.83. I'm Yael Shimoni, bringing to you together with Fadran and Yeshivat Drisha, learning Yun and Your Q Daf Yomi. And today we're going to learn about the contractor's oath, Shvuat HaSachir, that we find in the Mishnah. And here we will see in the sugya an interesting phenomenon. Tosafot asks a question that he remains unanswered. That happens in the Tosafot. Many times Tosafot is still in Sarich Yun. And what we will do is that we will find in other places the answer for the Tosafot in this gemara. In another sugya, there'll be an answer of Tosafot, and also other answers in other Rishonim. But you will see that Tosafot's question is really very strong in the sugya. So, Be'ezrat Hashem, a short iyun on the contractor's oath. Let's begin. We're starting in the Mishnah. The Mishnah says, if we have a contract, I'm the Baal Bayit, I want you to come and do work in my house. Let's say I want you to come and paint my house. Or let's do something else, something that cannot be seen. I want you to come and clean my house. Okay, I want you as a cleaner. So we do a contract and you have to come and work for me. And then at the end of the workday, I will have to pay you. Now, what happens if there's a dispute between me and you about whether or not I paid you? So first the Mishnah says there is a lav, lo talin, that I, as the person who's asking you to do work, I have to pay you. But when do I have to pay you? Only after you asked for the money. So that's the beginning of the Mishnah. אחד שכר אדם, אחד שכר בהמה, אחד שכר כלים. יש בו משום ביומו תיתן שכרו, ויש בו משום לא תלין פעולת שכיר איתך הבוקר. מתי? בזמן שתבעו. לא תבעו אינו עובר עליו. So if I say that you have to clean it, that I'm offering you a job to clean my house, you say yes, you clean my house, and then only if you ask for the money, then if I don't give you the money, I'll be over on Bal Talin, and I won't be doing the aseh of Beyomo Titen Scharo. Okay, so that's the beginning of the sugya, stating that it's very important that you ask for your money. Continues the Mishnah and says, Sachir bezmano nishba venoten. Aval zmano eno nishba venoten. Okay, what's this? Let's say we have a dispute. You're saying, Yael, you didn't pay me please. And I'm saying, what? But I did pay you. I paid you immediately. We have a dispute. What do we do in such a dispute? Says the Mishnah, you can be nishba, you can make an oath that indeed I did not pay you, and then you will take the money from me. Nishba venote. The Gemara asks about this shvuah. This is not one of the shvuot of the Raisa. This is the shvuah de Rabbanan. And the Gemara asks, where did this shvuah come from? I mean, it doesn't really make sense. Why do you have such power over me? Why do we choose to believe your oath and giving you this power of an oath against me? The question, why did the Mishnah do this takana? Says the Gemara in Kuf Yud Bet Amud Bet, Sachir bezmano nishba venotel, Sachir emay takinu lei Rabbanan lemishtabea v'shakid. How come the Chachamim of the Mishnah do this takana? Why did they say that you have this power to make an oath and take your money? Rav Yehuda says it's a halacha gdola, and continues the Gemara and says it's not halacha, it's a takana gdola. And then a third saying of Rav Nachman, it's not a halacha, it's not a takana gdola, it's a takana kevua. This is a takana kevua. What does it mean, a takana kevua? Continues the Gemara and says, shvuah de baal habayit hi, ועקרוה רבנן לשבועה דבעל הבית ושדיוע השכיר משום כדי חייב דשכיר. Says the Gemara, this is a takana kvu'ah. I, as the person who gave you the work, I was the one who was supposed to do a shavua. What did Chachamim do? They took the shavua from me, they tore it away from me, and then they threw it on you. Why? Because you need the parnasa. So let's look at Rashi here. Rashi says something very interesting. Why do I have a shvuah? We don't see that shvuah in the Torah. Where is it written in the Torah that I have the original? Shvuah says Rashi, takanot kvuot, ra'ui la'asotan keva, la'akor aleim davar min haTorah. Says Rashi, the wording takanot kvuot that Rav Nachman says means that here Chachamim use their power to tear away la'akor davar min haTorah. What did they tear away? דמדאורייתא, מי שיש עליו לשלם הוא נשבע. דכתיב, ולקח בעליו ולא ישלם. והכה שקלו על השבועה מבעל הבית בשדיוע השכיר. Says Rashi, in the Torah it is written that I was the one who was supposed to do the shavua. Where is it written? From the pasuk, velakach be'alav velo yeshalem. I'm sure you feel that here Rashi calls for a question. How from this pasuk you can learn that there's a shavua on me? This is another topic in the sugya that I'm not getting into. Did I really have a shavua from the Deraisa? What does Rashi mean? Let's leave that aside, but just remain with Rashi. That's what's happening here, that the Shvuah in some sense was on my side, and then it was torn from me and put upon you. And this is another point to be learning in Iyun, when you get to learn Biyun the Sugya. But we're continuing to the continuation of the Sugya and the Kushya of the Tosafot. The Gemara asks, how come Chachamim took away the Shvuah from me and put it on you? The Gemara said it's because you need the money. It's because you need the money for your life. So answer the Gemara, good question. True, you need the money, but why would that give you power to take money from me? If you need money for your living, you can just come and take money that I don't owe you. Why should I be mafsid because of your living? Go and work somewhere else. Says the Gemara, בעל הבית גופי ניחא לידי משתבע שכיר ושקיל, כי איך דליתגו לפועלים. The Gemara says, since Yael is interested to have somebody clean our house, I want you to feel comfortable that if we have a dispute, you will be able to win because I have the interest for you to come to work for me. So that's why it's in my interest to give you this power. Says the Gemara, שכיר גופי ניחא לידי משתבע בעל הבית ויפקע, כי איך דליגו. The Gemara says, but that's funny because if you're working for me in cleaning, you have the interest also. So why is it my interest and not yours? We're exactly the same. Why take away the power from me and give it to you? Says the Gemara, Ba'al Bayit al Kochei Aga. Yael has to have her house clean. I don't know why I can't clean it myself, but that's what the Gemara says. I have to have help. I can't do everything on my own. Since Ba'al Kochei, it's not an interest for me because I have to do it. So that's why it's in my interest that you'll be there for me. Answers the Gemara, Sachir Nami, you also need the work. It's also not because you want, it's because you have to. So again, we're exactly the same. Finishes the Gemara, very, very, very important statement for the continuation of our learning. The Gemara says, I am having many people work in my house. Maybe I don't remember. Did I pay you? Didn't I pay you? But since you're doing the work, it's very clear for you. It's much easier for you to know if you got paid or not. And that is true. I do indeed see that when I do work for someone, if it's art or if it's giving a shiur, I know if I was paid or not because I did the job. But the person who asked me to do the job, let's say Hadran asks many talented women to create shiurim for Hadran. So maybe they won't keep track of all the people who they asked to, and they won't remember that they paid, didn't they pay? Because Baal Bayit has a lot of people he's working with. And the Sachir, the person who's doing the job, he's the one who did the job, and he knows, did he or didn't he get paid? So why is that important in the instance of a Shavua? Because if you're not sure about something, you can't make an oath about it. Making an oath about something that you don't remember is just not a possibility. So according to the Gemara, the reason that Chachamim took the Shavua from me and put it on you, it's because I really have a technical problem in making an oath. You know, did you get the money or not? You can choose to lie or to make the truth, but you definitely remember. I might think I remember, but I don't. So that's why we have the interest, the Shavua's interest, to take it from me and put it on you. Says the Gemara, if indeed my memory is so bad because I'm the one who's giving work for all these people, maybe we will never trust what I say. And even without a Shavua, we'll believe you. Why ask for an oath? Let's just say that Yael is somebody who really we can't trust because he doesn't remember, because he's the one who asked for the job. And you are a person who has much more credibility. So maybe you have enough credibility even without an oath. Answers the Gemara, Kedei le'afis dato shel ba'al habayit. What does that mean? It's true that when we're in a dispute, you indeed have more credibility than I, because I don't remember and you do. but I might feel that you're using me, and I'll feel that I can't trust you if so easily you can take away money from me. So that's why we're putting a shavua, so I will feel that I was not being done injustice. But the truth is that you are indeed more credible than I am, and the shavua is only to give me a good feeling. Lehafis dato shel baal habayit, to give me a good feeling. Ask the Gemara, okay, this is a bad solution. Why don't we choose a different solution? Maybe what we should say is that whenever I have you work in my house, I have to pay you back in front of Edim. Says the Gemara, that's not a good solution. Why? Because that's a headache. If that would be the rules of having somebody work in my house, I would not have you work in my house because it would cause too much tircha for me. Says the Gemara, okay, maybe a different solution. Native lemika, let's just give the money in the beginning, before you did the job. And says the Gemara, no, both sides prefer to give the money at the end of the job. You prefer because you don't want me to say, oh, you didn't do the job. And I prefer because maybe I don't have money now and I want to know that I'm paying for something that's really been done. And that's why, according to the Gemara, we remain with this solution because I'm not trustworthy, you are. But if we'll give you the ability to get the money even without a shua, I will feel that I can't trust the situation and that I have been done injustice. And that's why you are the one who are making the oath. Tosafot asks a question, and as I said in the beginning of the shir, the question will remain here unanswered. Tosafot says, you have to see another sugya to understand the scope of the shvuah of the sachir. We have to go and learn in Shavuot Daf Mem Hey. So let's see what's written in Shavuot Daf Mem Hey. There, Rav Nachman, the same Amora who started the story of Nachman in the name of Shmuel, says that this shvuah only exists sometimes, but many times you will be somebody who can't do a shvuah, and actually we will trust me. I will be the one who will make the decision. I'll be the one halachically who will make the decision whether or not you get the money. Let's see what says Rav Nachman. Amar Rav Nachman Amar Shmuel, לא שנו אלא ששכרו בעדים, אבל שכרו שלא בעדים, מתוך שיכול לומר לו לא שכרתיך מעולם, יכול לומר לו שכרתיך ונתתי לך שכרך. Says Rav Nachman in the name of Shmuel, if there were witnesses for the original contract, it is true that if we have a dispute whether or not I paid you, you are the one who is more trustworthy, and therefore you will have to make a shvuah, so I will be mefis dato shel baal habayit. But, says Rav Nachman, if there were no edim on the original contract, I have a migo. What does that mean? When you come and say, yeah, you didn't pay me, I can say, excuse me, I don't know you, or I didn't ask you to work today. It's true, I asked you to clean my house on Friday, but today my daughter cleaned the house. I didn't mean that I didn't have to pay you at all. Maybe we had a different contract, not today. And since there are no edim, I will be the one who is trustworthy. Why? Because I have a migo. What does that mean? When a person has two options, he can tell an easy story and a hard story. The easy story is to say, oh, I never gave you the job. The hard story to say, yes, I gave you the job, but I already paid you. So the rule goes, if I would really want to lie, I would choose the easier path. If I really had you work for me and didn't pay you, and I'm trying to get away, it'll be easier for me to say, everything you say is not true, instead of saying, oh, yes, you're right, but I paid you. So according to Rav Nachman, since I have a migo, in that case, I will win the dispute and you won't be able to get any money from me because you didn't make sure that there were edim on the contract. And therefore, whenever you have contracts with people, halachically, you should make sure that you have edim on the original creation of the contract, so I won't have a migo, therefore you will be able to win in the next round. So that's what says Rav Nachman in the name of Shmuel, and indeed it takes the shvuah of the sachir and makes it much, much, much more smaller. And we see in the sugya that the Chachamim like this din. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak Yishar, v'chen Amar Rabbi Yochanan in this din was also pasking in the Shulchan Aruch in Siman Peitet Seif Gimel. Says the Shulchan Aruch, במה דברים אמורים שהשכיר נשבע, כשיש עדים ששכרו ושעשה עמו מלאכה, אבל אם לא היו שם עדים, מתוך שיכול לומר לא שכרתיך, נאמן לומר שכרתיך ונתתי לך שכרך. So you see this is halacha psuka. So let's get back to Tosafot's question. Tosafot asks, our sugya explained very well that the reason that we trust you and we don't trust me is because I don't remember well. Remember that? So Tosafot asks, צחיר בזמנו נשבע ונוטל. בפרק כל הנשבעים מפרש שלא שנו אלא ששכרו בעדים, אז שכרו שלא בעדים, מתוך שיכול לומר לו שכרתיך, מעולם יכול לומר לו שכרתיך ונתתי לך שכרך. Right? The gemara in Memhe that we just learned says that if there are no edim, I have a migo. Says Tosafot, Teima, היכן נאמן במיגו? והמפרש דמה דשכיר נשבע משום דבעל הבית תרבות בפועליו, ואנו חושבים אותו כאילו אמר איני יודע. ואם כן, מה מועיל מיגו? דילו אמר איני יודע, לא הווה מהני שהוא מיגו. Says Tosafot, I don't understand. How does migo work? Migo says, I have two options, two stories, and I choose the harder story and the easier story, right? But in this case, the Gemara explained that I can't really choose between stories. Why? Because I don't remember well. So if my original statement is a statement that we don't trust because you don't trust if I remember, we won't also trust the other option because I don't remember that and I don't remember that. I don't remember anything. So if a person doesn't remember, it won't make it more credible because he had another option. There's an integral problem, a memory problem. So in case of memory problem, there's no migo. And the Tosafot also proves that from other sugya. You can go and read more in the Tosafot, other sugya that state that if a person doesn't remember or he's not very acute about what he's saying, amigo won't help him in any way. So ask the Tosafot, how come here amigo helps me if I don't have a good memory? And in other sugya, amigo doesn't help me and also doesn't make any sense. And the Tosafot remains unanswered because this is a very, very good kushya. How can we have amigo if we just explain so well that the reason that I don't have the Schwartz is because I'm tarud b'poalim and I don't have a good memory for what actually happened. So, as we said, a loss of memory destroys the migo. How come we have a migo here? Tosafot in Shvuot offers an answer which is very weird. Actually, this answer is one of the hard answers of Tosafot. And Tosafot says there, ויש לומר, דהכה כיוון דאין טוען שמא אלא ברי, ואומר ודאי שלא שכח, אין לנו להחזיקו כמשקר כיוון דאית למיגו. אבל כשאין למיגו אינו נאמן. Says Tosafot, when I am saying that I paid you, I'm not saying that I remember. I am really convinced that I do. So Tosafot says, if the person is convinced that he's saying the truth, we will hold him a truth sayer if he has a migo. Only when he doesn't have a migo, we won't trust him. Why? This is very hard. And it's so hard that other Rishonim asks on the Tosafot, we also don't understand what kind of migo you have here, because these two stories, the story to say, I never gave you the job, for saying that I never gave you the job, I have to have real guts for that. Because you come and say, yeah, you gave me a job and you didn't pay me. And I'm saying, no, you're a total liar. I never gave you the job. In order to say that you are a total liar, I really need to have guts to stand in front of you, have te'uzah and say you're a liar. But to say, oh, indeed, I did give you the job, I didn't pay you, that doesn't call for a lot of te'uzah. And that's another reason why this migo is not good, say the other Rishonim. First of all, Tosafot is right, you don't remember well. And second of all, let's say you do remember well, like what the Tosafot said, still you have a problem that this migo is what's called migo de'azah, that there's a very good reason for you to choose the story that you chose to tell. It's easier because you don't have to have such guts to call you a total liar. So there are two problems in this migo. One is that I don't really remember. Let's say Tosafot somehow solve that problem. But then we have another problem of migo de'azah. There's a reason why I didn't say the other story. It's because it's harder to say that you're a liar. So I'm just adding something that we might have spoke about before. There's a very big machloket regarding migo, whether or not migo is a way to say that a person is really saying the truth. Is it a way to do a berur, a way to check that he's saying the truth? And that's why we really have to have the backstory a real option for me to say, and it can't be a story that I need extra guts to say. Or maybe we think that even if there's any other story that I could say, that in itself is enough to give me power in this dispute. it seems that the Tosafot is not bothered by the question of the fact that this migo is migo de'aza, and therefore it seems that this Tosafot thinks that migo is only a way to give me extra power in the deen, what we call koach ha'ta'ana, and not a real way to find out if I'm saying the truth. That is also hard in the Tosafot because we saw him saying other things elsewhere, and that's why the Tosafot asked a good question, gave a problematic answer. There's another question to ask on the answer that the Tosafot answered. This is really, really hard. So I want to move to the Ritva, and the Ritva at the end of his commentary gives a different answer that we can use to be a different interpretation to what Tosafot meant in saying. Says the Ritva at the end, ויותר נראים דברי רבנו חי ז"ל. דהכה, כיוון דכולה משום תקנתא דסחיר הוא, כל הכה דאיכא מיגו כל דהו עוקמינא רבנן דין תורה. Says the Ritva, it is true that usually this kind of migo is not a good migo. You're right, because I'm forgetful, because it has more guts to say. It's true. But since we're talking here about a takana de Rabbanan, remember that's how we started the shir. It's not din Torah, it's takana de Rabbanan. So Chachamim did their takana only in a very specific situation, only when indeed I have less credibility because the story has basis from 80. And the minute that I have a little bit more credibility, because there are no 80 on the story, the Takana of Chachamim is not relevant. So the migo is here not because it tells us that I have more credibility. It's here to tell me that this is not the situation where Chachamim did their Takana, as we saw. The Takana of Chachamim is built upon the fact that I really have less credibility, and that loss of credibility is only when the story itself has a backup from other 80s. So that's the answer of Rav Hai. It is not exactly what the Tosafot said, but maybe we can use Rav Hai to explain the Tosafot differently. So let's sum up what we saw. We saw that Chachamim did a takana. They tore away a shavua for me and put it upon you. And the reason they did that, according to the Gemara, is because I don't really have credibility because I'm busy with a lot of workers. But what we see is that there's a sugya on Daf Mem Hey that says that I lose that credibility only if there's backup for the original story, and therefore I have migo, and you cannot do a shavua against me because I have credibility. It was very hard to explain how did I resume my credibility if we just explained that I have a bad memory. That was Tosafot's question. He was left in a kushia on our daf. Elsewhere, he says, it doesn't matter, this migo still works, and left it unclear. So how do we explain that? We said it maybe it's because this migo is really a migo that is not there to prove credibility. It's there only to say that I have more strength in what I'm saying. Again, it's a hard explanation in this migo. And therefore, we looked at the Ritva and we found Rav Hai, who explains it differently and says, because this is a Shavua de Rabbanan, it's a takana, and it was only created in a sense when I have a loss of credibility because the original story is backed up by 80. This is not a classic migo. It is not really adding credibility to me. It's just creating where did Chachamim do this takana. So what did we see today? I think what we saw today is that sometimes questions are better than answers. And if we would have more time, we would read the sugya in Daf Mem Hey and do more iyun there and see maybe other answers that derive from this very, very, very good question that the Tosafot asks. Indeed, Rav Hai finished by telling us, Yael, if there's a takana, it was only created in a very specific situation, and any loss of anything in that situation will destroy the takana. I think that is something that we can definitely understand, but still, Tosafot's question still resonates in our minds, and here we have a Tosafot that remains in a tzarich iyun. So I hope you enjoyed our learning today, the chavaya of finding a Tosafot that remains in a kushia, and B'ezrat Hashem, we'll continue learning also next week. Take care. Have a good summer.